So you've heard already that philosophers like to ask a lot of big questions. We like to look for answers even though sometimes we haven't found them yet. Well, philosophers also work in a lot of different areas. There's not really a unified field of just philosophers, in the same way that there's not a unified field of chemists, of biologists, of historians. Right? All the fields in academia have people that specialize in different places, and philosophy is really no different. So philosophy has a whole mess of subfields, and each of them has a different goal, asks different questions, and usually even has different methods to find the answers to those questions. Over the course of our class, we're going to move through some of the history of philosophy, and we will deal with a number of these different subfields, and we will see what their questions are, what their goals are, sometimes how they reach them, or how they fail to reach them, and sort of what methods they tend to use. You'll probably find that you like some of these fields quite a lot, and that some really don't click with you at all. That's totally okay. Even professional philosophers have this same sort of tendency towards some and away from others. One of the first fields we deal with is something called epistemology, which is a big, scary Greek word. It comes from the pair of Greek words, well, I guess a word and a suffix, episteme, which is knowledge, and ology, which is the study of. So epistemology, in short, is the study of knowledge. And so its big question is, what do we know, and how do we know it? This sounds like a dumb philosopher question, right? And this is the sort of thing you're going to see all semester, is it looks like philosophers are asking things that you just go, no shit, I know what I know. The thing is, right, there are some real questions to ask about this. Questions like, well, what kinds of evidence can I trust? And what kinds are better than others, right? So if I just hear something and then I see it, should I trust one of those better? A more important question maybe is what counts as proof? And this is something that's really important in legal context, in scientific context, and things like that. And of course, it's something important for every day and for science and law as well. How do we settle factual disagreements? If I say the sky is blue and someone else says the sky is green, well, we're pretty sure that I know the sky is blue, right? But how can I prove that to someone else who just doesn't buy it? Another field is metaphysics. It's closely related to epistemology. So epistemology asks what we know and how we know it. Metaphysics asks, okay, well, what's actually true, right? Whether we know it or not, what is it? So this is, again, a combination of Greek words. So the prefix meta means about or before or sometimes on top of, and physics, of course, is physics. So metaphysics deals with sort of what comes before physics, or sort of even the laws that ground physics itself. So it's how the world or the universe is put together, and it's a very sciencey part of philosophy. So some of the big questions here, we'll see a philosopher named David Hume ask, is there even such a thing as cause and effect? We'll also deal with some issues maybe of, is there one universe, or many parallel ones, or maybe not even one at all? And what are the fundamental laws of nature? Right, so metaphysics is the most sciencey part of philosophy, and it asks sort of big questions about what is the world actually like. Another one that we'll dig into somewhat is the philosophy of religion. Philosophy and religion have been closely linked throughout the history with philosophy and religion in the world. Philosophy of religion tends to deal not with individual religious issues, or the issues within individual religions, but rather overarching issues. So usually ones that all religions try to find answers to. So these are things like, is there a higher power of any sort? Is there a god? Are there angels? Are there spirits? Anything like that? Are there multiple gods? If so, how do we know? Do souls exist, or any sort of non-physical parts of us? What are they like, if so? Is there an afterlife? What kind? Is it heaven and hell? Is it reincarnation? Is it something entirely different? These are all questions that philosophy of religion tries to ask, and it usually deals with issues of proof, much like epistemology as well. So if there's a god, how do we know? If there are souls, how do we know? It tries to deal with sort of how could we arbitrate disagreements between religions. And the last one that we'll deal quite a lot with are a pair of them, actually. It's ethics and political philosophy. These are what we call the normative parts of philosophy, and normative, you can see the word norm in there, deals with the shoulds and the oughts of life. So the question is, how ought we live our lives, right? Big questions include, is there anything we should never ever do, or is anything absolutely forbidden? How and if should we punish criminals? What is the best way to live our lives in general? What's the best form of government, and what should the laws be? Things like that. Ethics and political philosophy are some of the easiest parts of philosophy to get into because everyone has an opinion on this, at least some elements of it. So we will deal with a little bit of all of these and even some other ones as we go through the course of the semester. I particularly am a writer in ethics and political philosophy, so I like to work as much of that in as possible, but these are the ones will show up quite a lot as well. I hope you're looking forward to it, and we will get into some real juicy philosophy next week. So in the meantime, make sure to read these articles, post your thoughts on them in the discussion forum, and please post an introduction to yourself as well. I like to know who I'm talking to on the other side of this big scary screen. So have a great week.